He's setting up a meeting. And there's talk of a mass walkout of bus drivers, Nottingham and Derby, organised by two communist conveners not formally known to Special Branch. He's also had a telephone conversation with Jesse Eden, who is organising a committee to resist wage cuts across the city. But he'll report more when he sees her. It's all in there, though. Names and everything.
I heard he had the Labour benches roaring approval in the House today.
Huh. If only he meant it, he'd be dangerous.
Didn't know you drank stout, Ada. I thought it was gin.
Times are hard.
Exactly how much did you lose?
Don't worry about it. Tommy has a plan. He thinks that we can turn the collapse of the stock exchange to our advantage. He says, when others retreat, you advance. He says we can wave cash in the faces of desperate men.
Tell your brother from me he's doing excellent work. I'm told 2 more military contracts for vehicles and parts for the army in India are on their way to him. Come.
Mr. Shelby, this arrived from New York. It's from Winston Churchill. He says he was in New York and had dinner with Charlie Chaplin, and Chaplin mentioned your name.
So I was in New York, and he doesn't mention the crash.
No. Even though in the bar last night, Mr. Churchill's private secretary reckoned he lost £75,000 in 2 hours. And you? Were you affected, Mr. Shelby?
I'm going to my apartment. Adam, you lock up.
Sorry, Mr. Shelby, you have one more appointment. You set it yourself. It's in the diary from last week. A journalist from the Times. He used to be with the Birmingham Mail. He sent you some questions. You said you wanted to meet him. He's outside.
Yes. Send him in.
Mr. Shelby, Mr. Levitt from the London Times.
Have a seat. Adam, you go home. I'll lock up.
Mr. Shelby, do you remember me?
No.
Once in Small Heath, you were burning photographs of the King.
London Times, you've done well.
As have you, sir. To put it mildly. I sent you a list of questions.
Yeah, I misplaced them.
Yeah, well, you have a lot on your plate.
Yes. All I remember is that your questions interested me.
Oh. Good. Sorry, this... Ah, here we are. Yes, so, Mr. Shelby, traditionally in this country, print journalists take no interest in the private lives of politicians.
Private lives?
But in these modern times, especially in America, journalists are beginning to... well, that is to say, yes. Readers are beginning to say... want to know more about the men who represent them.
Of course. In these modern times.
Whereas before, it would have been seen as ungentlemanly to ask a public figure questions about personal matters or business affairs.
Oh, well, no need to worry. I'm no gentleman.
Mr. Shelby, as I said in my letter, 10 years ago, I was a journalist on the Birmingham Evening Mail. And, of course, working in that city, it was impossible not to know your name. And your reputation. So when I saw that you had been elected as a socialist...
You reflected on the fact that working people can indeed change their lives for the better. Channel their abilities in new directions, discover better methods, aim for happier outcomes, even win awards for industry. You can write this down, Mr. Levitt.
The question I have for you, Mr. Shelby, is this. Was your conversion from bookmaker to socialist politician a gradual thing or a road to Damascus experience?
Yeah. Now I hear that question. I remember receiving your letters, and I distinctly remember your use of the word bookmaker.
Were you not a bookmaker, sir?
Yes. I gained a license in 1919 for on-track betting. But since 1923, I've made my fortune in the manufacture, sale, and export of motor cars.
And lately gin.
And lately, 3 new homes for orphan children. You can write all this down, Mr. Levitt.
I have another question, Mr. Shelby. In Birmingham, the time that I was there was a Major Campbell. He was found dead. A member of your family was charged.
Right, you answer me this. Answer me this. What is your Tory newspaper more afraid of? Is it evolution or revolution? And what is it about working class men like me, standing up in the House of Commons and speaking from the heart? What is it that so troubles you that you would try to undermine me?
I am talking about specific events, sir.
Which I don't recall. With which I was never personally linked. And after which all convictions were quashed. Yeah, now I recall receiving your letter. And I recall that when I did, I asked a colleague of mine to carry out some research. Just a moment. Here we are. Michael Levitt, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Journalist. Unmarried. Apartment in Maida Vale. Apartment opposite the Underground station. Unmarried is underlined. Mr. Levitt enjoys walks in the park, sometimes alone, sometimes not alone. Sometimes with other men. Sometimes with other men. I'm old-fashioned, Michael. I believe private lives should remain private. Not everything modern is good now, is it? You're gonna write this down in your little fucking book.
Well?
Not yet. I didn't tell him.
Him knowing or not knowing, there's no relevance to what we're drinking. It's vintage. Fuck it. This is for us. Let's drink to the baby.
Polly, do you remember when I was last pregnant? You were going to take me to Cardiff. I was going to get rid of it.
What about this time? Imagine. The father's scared. He runs away. You're left. Oh, sweetheart. The baby's black. He's a bastard. And it's Birmingham. But you don't care. Because the world has changed. And the baby's eyes are golden. And you're going to leave her with Aunt Polly every day to look after. Aunt Polly, who insisted that you called her Elizabeth.
How do you know it's a her?
Because Aunt Polly Gray.
It's a girl.
Golden. To be born in the year 1930, where everything will be changed for the better. She'll be the colour of a Hollywood Oscar.
What will Tommy say?
Tommy knows.
He's also seen that the world's big and round, and he says, so what?
Tommy is right, you know, Ada. We are flying above the rules now.
We're bold people, aren't we, Polly?
That's the beauty.
Hello, Cyril. You're still talking to me? Where's everyone?
Your wife is upstairs with Ruby.
You know, Francis, if there were to be a snap election in this house today, wouldn't win it. Even if I were running against the devil himself.
Oh. I gathered.
Where's Charles?
Charles is in the stable.
Thank you. Did Arthur explain?
He said it's God's will. But you're not God.
No, I'm not God. Not yet.
On a gathering storm comes a tall, handsome man in a dusty black coat with a red right hand. His shadow is cast wherever he stands. Stacks of green paper in his red right hand.